Thank you very much for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. Just to emphasize that the reason for the short break is that we have taken a recording of the proceedings this morning, and we will be making that available on our website in due course. And as I mentioned, for any who can't connect, we will be making their remarks available. The second of our technical assistance panels is a 30-minute roundtable, and it's going to celebrate the UNCITRAL Day series of events that we hold in Asia Pacific and in Latin America and the Caribbean regions. Just by way of context, the UNCITRAL Days is a series of academic events that the UNCITRAL secretariat co-hosts with institutions of higher learning in countries, and it has two purposes. First, to commemorate the establishment of UNCITRAL, and secondly, to raise awareness of UNCITRAL among law students, future participants in UNCITRAL, and other contributors to UNCITRAL's work. Really what I mean is the next generation of legal thinkers, and to encourage them to take part in law reform in the UNCITRAL context. The UNCITRAL Days also allow states and partner organisations to illustrate their commitment to international commercial law reform and UNCITRAL's activities, and they become part of a dynamic and regional network of prestigious universities and institutions of higher learning, educating, as I say, these future leaders. The UNCITRAL Day was initially launched in 2014 by the UNCITRAL Regional Centre for Asia and the Pacific, and it was then known as UNCITRAL's Asia Pacific Day, and in 2020 it was expanded to Latin America and the Caribbean region. Again, I will introduce our speakers individually so that they be able to raise their hands, and we have only half an hour for this panel, so without further ado, I would like to turn to our first speaker, who is actually the former chairman of UNCITRAL, His Excellency Mr. Eric Anderson. He's the permanent representative of Peru to the UN here in Vienna, and he has provided some video remarks. He's unable to join us in person because there are other meetings going on in this building today where he's required to take part. Thank you very much. Please play the video.
Muy buenas tardes, señor embajador.
Good afternoon, Ambassador. Philibert Johnson, Chair of the 54th session of the UNCITRAL Committee. Madam Anna Juban-Brett, Secretary of UNCITRAL, distinguished participants, it's a pleasure to be here with you today, and thank you very much for the invitation to attend this panel on celebration of the UNCITRAL Days. Here I would like to refer to the UNCITRAL Days that were held for Latin America and the Caribbean region, known as the LAC Days. As a Latin American, it's particularly relevant to be able to tell you about this event, given that the first version was launched last year during the 53rd session of the Commission, and we were very pleased to be able to chair it. In the context of the 2020 LAC Days, some 34 academic events were organized and were held virtually during November and December. These events were attended by 30 universities and institutions from 16 countries of the region, focusing on legislative work, on transparency in investor-state dispute settlement within a treaty context. We note that the organization of this first edition, this first version of the LAC Days, was held in most complex circumstances as a result of the outbreak of COVID-19. However, because of the commitment of all participating member states and the UNCITRAL Secretariat, we were able to carry out this important event. And here I'm very pleased to inform you that the series of events made it possible to create awareness and promote the various legislative efforts undertaken by UNCITRAL among participants, including representatives of governments, members of academia, civil society representatives, students, and future leaders in the field of law as well as other stakeholders in the area. At the end of the day, the UNCITRAL Days are an ideal event for raising awareness related to the Commission's work, helping disseminate the usefulness of UNCITRAL instruments for the benefit of states. Indeed, the academic nature of such sessions makes it possible for UNCITRAL legislative texts to be included and addressed in the academic curricula of various university and academic institutions, thus promoting a fruitful debate and discussions on the diverse range of issues that UNCITRAL tackles within its 6 working groups. Finally, I'm very pleased to inform you that as a result of the success of the first LAC Days 2020, this year there will be a second version, which will be taking up the new legislative text of UNCITRAL on international dispute settlement and arbitration and mediation, and we are certain that this will be a most useful event for all participants and will also be a singular opportunity in order to keep creating awareness related to the relevant role that UNCITRAL plays in the further development and harmonization of international trade law. I'd also like to use this opportunity in order to express my country's readiness to continue and to cooperate and participate at the second version of the LAC Days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think it really is worth pointing out here that last year was the first edition of the UNCITRAL LAC Days. There were 30 universities taking part in 16 countries. And as we heard, they were looking at the question of transparency in ISDS as the main theme. There are reports of both of the UNCITRAL LAC Days, and we're going to hear about Asia Pacific in a moment. We will be including references, web links to those reports in the Commission report, and the reports will be on our website for those who wish to know a little more. Now, before turning, the next speaker is Professor Mr. Jae-min Lee, and he's from the School of Law in Seoul National University, the Republic of Korea. And just to remind everybody that Korea is where we host our UNCITRAL Regional Centre for Asia and the Pacific. And I'd like to hand the floor to him for a few remarks on the Asia Pacific Days, UNCITRAL Asia Pacific Days, which, as I noted, started in 2014. Thank you very much.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak on this panel today at the occasion of the 54th session of the Commission. The UNCITRAL Regional Centre for Asia and the Pacific, or RCAP, has played an important role and made a tremendous contribution to the cause of UNCITRAL since its establishment in January 2014. Just briefly, the main objectives of the RCAP are to enhance in the region the awareness of the activities of UNCITRAL and to provide capacity building and technical assistance services to the states in the Asia-Pacific region. It has been carrying out its tasks successfully in all material respects. At the center of the activities of UNCITRAL RCAP lie the UNCITRAL Asia Pacific Day events. RCAP introduced the UNCITRAL Asia Pacific Day in 2014, wherein it visits campuses of universities and institutions in major cities in the region. Through these annual events, RCAP has reached students, many of whom law students, and helped increase awareness among them of the work UNCITRAL is carrying out. Most recently, for example, in 2020, despite COVID-19, as many as 35 universities in 10 jurisdictions participated in the Asia-Pacific Day events by hosting 19 activities. Those 9 jurisdictions are Australia, China, Hong Kong, China, Macau, India, Japan, Republic of Korea, Russian Federation, Thailand, and Vietnam. In these COVID-induced hybrid meetings, a total of 8,500 students participated. Through these events, students were exposed to the overview of activities of UNCITRAL. Many of them, in fact, also realized the importance of harmonization of law and legal instruments at the global level. As the students are the next generation of legal thinkers and policymakers, their early exposure and recognition may evolve into an important asset for future work of UNCITRAL. They may also contemplate their career plan in this area as well. In this regard, I would like to appreciate very much the efforts of Ms. Adhita Kominder, the head of ALCAP, and other staff members in the office. I'm confident that UNCITRAL ALCAP will play more important roles as we encounter new challenges in the fast-changing global community with digital economy, artificial intelligence, and new modes of transactions and dispute settlement. Once again, I would like to conclude by appreciating the opportunity to speak on this panel today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lee, and I think it's really important to just reflect on the fact that, as you mentioned, that the Asia-Pacific Days last year reached 8,500 people. That's a really major achievement, and you put the emphasis rightly on the educational nature of the activities. And I'd also like to recognise my colleague, Adhita Kominder from the Regional Centre, who spearheaded that effort. Now, we have 15 minutes of our session left this morning. I have 3 requests for the floor from Argentina, and we're going to hear also from the ICC in North Asia. And I also have a request from the floor from the Permanent Representative and Ambassador of Chile to the United Nations, Ms. Belén Sapag, and I'm pleased to give her the floor. And I would just like to make a request, nobody to talk for more than 3 minutes so that we can finish. And I'm sorry for having to do that, but we are short of time. So thank you, Madam. The floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Chair. We have been following keenly all the discussions from the 12th onwards, and we're very interested in seeking out more answers regarding the situation of women, micro entrepreneurs and medium entrepreneurs. In Chile, 34% of micro enterprises are led by women. In the economic sectors most affected by the pandemic, such as tourism, services, hairdressers, we also have a high concentration of SMEs and MSMEs led by women. The government has established a relief voucher for micro and small businesses, and the variable addition bonus will increase 20% in the event that the natural person or the owner of an individual limited liability company is a woman. What we are seeking is that these enterprises remain in the market and don't disappear. We were very impressed to hear all the proposals and achievements by different regions, but obviously we would have wanted to hear some specific initiatives regarding enterprises and led by women. In this regard, also Chile has been very focused at the capabilities to have women participating on seminars, just to have access on this specific bonuses that come from the government. So we would encourage UNCITRAL to focus on this specific arena. We believe that there are very good reports by ECLAC and also by the UN headquarters, the UNDP, etc., on women enterprises, and also Chile, Colombia, and other countries have been very supportive of the economic empowerment of women, and we believe that on the legislative realm and the issues that have been addressed by the UNCITRAL, there's still a big space for us to deliver. And we commend the chair and all the panelists and the secretariat for this excellent week, and we hope that we can receive the results in due time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I think that's a very important point that's been raised, particularly on the question of women-led enterprises. We are aware that many smaller businesses and micro-businesses in particular are women-led, and it's a very important aspect of support to MSMEs. And the points are duly noted, and we will be taking those into account. So thank you for that. Our next speaker is also from Latin America, and from Argentina, and I'd like to hand the floor to Ms. Silvina Aguirre, who is a councillor in the International Legal Affairs Division in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Argentina. Madam, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the Secretariat and to the organisers of Panel 2, Celebration of UNCITRAL Days, for allowing this event to take place and also for allowing us to take the floor on this occasion. My delegation would like to state that it remains committed to the development and elaboration of norms of international private law in trade matters. Such a development is only made possible through the dissemination and greater awareness raising of UNCITRAL's works at both the training centres and academic centres of future trade law professionals. And that is why Argentina welcomes the positive results achieved during the UNCITRAL Days convened and their expansion to Latin America and the Caribbean in 2020. Our country supported the participation of local universities at the UNCITRAL LAC Day, held between November and December of 2020, allowing national and private prestigious universities of our country to take the floor, but also including the participation of the International Private Law American Association, ASADIB. During the first version of UNCITRAL LAC Day, and in spite of the pandemic, 8 Argentinian universities attended the event, organizing online events, in particular on transparency issues. Representatives of USAL, the Southern University USAL, the University of José C. Paz, University del Litoral, University of Buenos Aires, the University de Flores, Universidad Nacional de Quilmes, all participated, which demonstrates the diversity of the institutions who were involved. Subsequently, Argentina has often hosted organized events, ensured universities have participated, bringing together professors and professionals of international repute. All of these events were attended by renowned professionals in the sphere of international arbitration, mediation, and international private law. One of the activities that was organized by the Latin American Education Centre, UCEL, was attended by Ambassador Holger Martinsen, Director General of the under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Argentina. We hope that 2021 will be a further successful version of UNCITRAL LAC Days for Argentina and all of Latin America, that it proves to be as successful as the version of the previous year, and we are very pleased to note that the Secretariat has already received expressions of interest from Argentinian schools of law such as UBA, UCEL, Universidad de Flores, and Universidad Salvador, indicating their interest in participating in the 2021 version. Thank you very much once again for this opportunity to participate in the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aguirre, and it's very pleasing to hear the welcome that UNCITRAL's LAC Days have received in Argentina and your active participation. We're looking forward to that again in this year's series. We have 2 more speakers before us in following UNCITRAL's normal arrangements and protocol, I'm going to first hand the floor to a speaker from a state, and that is Ms. Roxana de los Santos, who's going to talk from the Dominican Republic, and we will then hear from Ms. Xijin Doni Huang from the ICC. So first, Ms. Dos Santos, I hand you the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The Dominican Republic commends both the Chair as well as the Secretariat for the excellent 54th session of the Commission that was convened of the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. Turning to the issue of MSME recovery during the COVID-19 pandemic, we have adopted measures nationally as a developing country geared towards assisting MSMEs on three basic areas where they've been most affected. First of all, providing economic assistance, an emergency need in order to provide access to 70% of salary costs in MSMEs that are legally registered, ensuring therefore that we can avoid a massive loss of employment. Moreover, economic supplementary measures were adopted, equally financial in nature, that the state facilitated. More than 7 million pesos provided with lengthy payback periods with low interest rates. The support provided both nationally and internationally from the financial sector for the restructuring of debts, reducing the debt rate for at least a 12-month period has equally been presented as an alternative, which meant that the overall burden of financial support for MSMEs fell to the state, where 1/4 have seen their income cut and they have had to, where the state is equally called upon to provide social assistance to those in greatest need. The Ministry of Development and the government have deployed a whole range of efforts, education, support, assistance, in order to reach as many of the SMEs as possible, in turn equally supporting their ICT needs, enhancing digital knowledge, allowing their businesses to recover and to subsist during the pandemic times. At the same time, there has been a significant increase in the number of conferences, training courses, workshops geared toward the needs of SMEs. Also working together with various associations and groups, making it possible for entrepreneurial activity to be sustained in our country. We are very grateful for international cooperation, which during these times has been of the utmost value. However, we must equally acknowledge that there is a need to rethink matters both internationally as well as here within cooperating agencies working together with developing countries. This rethinking is necessary in order to see how international aid and assistance is being implemented, as significant changes cannot be made to these assistance forms right now, given that these focus chiefly on technical assistance and capacity building, which is something that takes up more than 80%, setting aside the structural change and failing to address the needs for productivity of MSMEs, which remain isolated, and which means that they are unable to catch up technologically or to benefit from training, where they have been unable to benefit from the structural aid, allowing them to capitalize on the technical assistance which is out there. This means that at times cooperation does not have a significant impact on truly transforming MSMEs. Therefore, more must be done in order to strike the necessary balance between education, training, and financial assistance. Finally, for MSMEs to be able to reach accelerated recovery, there needs to be a mechanism in place in particular for developing countries to support effective recovery, for MSME policies geared towards ensuring their stability and further development, given that the MSME's interests are singular and specific in nature, even though they have an impact on all other social sectors, including enhancement of productivity. But if all efforts are focused only on input from the centralized government, then it is very difficult for other stakeholders to play their part in ensuring the further development of MSMEs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Santos. And I think you've put also taken us back to the question of support for small and medium-sized enterprises, micro-enterprises, emphasising how important these structural support, training and specialised capacity building for both economic growth and stability. So thank you for sharing that experience with us. Now, our last speaker for today is going to speak from the perspective of the ICC Arbitration and Alternative Dispute Resolution Centre from the International Chamber of Commerce in North Asia. And this is Ms. Jihin Donna Huang, who is its director, and I'm happy to hand the floor to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Greetings from International Chamber of Commerce. It is a great honor to join the side event of the 54th Commission session to celebrate the UNCITRAL AP Day and LAC Day, and to express our gratitude to the UNCITRAL Secretary. Since 2019, ICC Arbitration and ADR North Asia has been privileged to partner with the UNCITRAL RCAP to promote and expand AP Day series to collaborators across the region. 2020 has been one of the most challenging years of our lifetimes. Most of us have been and continue to be affected by physical distancing measures and other disruptions to our normal way of life. Like facing any challenge moment of human history, we are committed to adapting, finding new ways of working, and making the best use of available technologies to ensure that exchanges between people never stop. 7 hybrid and virtual events in 3 jurisdictions co-organized by UNCITRAL RCAP, ICC Arbitration and ADR North Asia, and academic institutions from Australia, China, and Vietnam, with cumulative live audience of approximately 7,300 participants of 2020, gave us confidence to adapt the new normal in this difficult time. ICC is the institution representing business interests at the highest levels of intergovernmental decision-making, whether at the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, or the G20, ensuring the voice of business is heard and enabling business to secure peace, prosperity, and opportunity for all. ICC has a long history of formulating the voluntary routes by which business is conducted every day. To implement our mandate, ICC, as the World Business Organization, look forward to continuing strong regional collaborations with UNCITRAL RCAP in the years ahead to help professionals, practitioners, and young generations to better understand the international law and rule-making process. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Ms. Huang. And I think it's helpful also to hear this perspective from one of the organisers, as well as from those representing the states who've taken part in the UNCITRAL Days, and the challenges that we've had in adapting to COVID realities and how they mean that we engage in our outreach activities. And here I just want to draw a conclusion in that we have managed to reach more and more people, as was noted earlier on in this Commission session, from approximately 8,000 2 years ago to over 24,000 in 2020. So there are some successes in terms of getting the UNCITRAL message across and the benefits that can accrue to states, challenging that though this has been, and obviously we would like to be able to deliver more of our support in person, because in many cases that's the most effective way of doing so. So let's hope that we can eventually get back to doing that. And I also just want to make one other point in concluding, that we have heard also throughout the 2 panels this morning of successes despite those challenges, successes in the programmes supporting MSMEs that our various speakers have highlighted. They've mentioned that challenging and enforced acceleration in programmes has actually yielded successes, and we've heard that there is still work to do, particularly most recently in the context of supporting women-led enterprises. So we've heard many benefits this morning of UNCITRAL's technical assistance activities, and in particular the UNCITRAL Days most recently, and I'd like to thank everybody for their constructive and informative comments and participation. And I now would like to hand back to the Chairman to draw some conclusions from his perspective. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, Madam Secretary, we have celebrated the UNCITRAL Days in Asia, the Pacific, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and the positive benefits for those that may have been new to UNCITRAL, including legal scholars and students. I'd like to conclude by noting that these benefits should be available to others around the world, and I invite interested institutions and agencies in all regions to engage with the Secretariat on the possibilities to co-host events this year and in the future. Specifically, and speaking where in my heart, as a representative of an African state, if you would permit me, I wish specifically to call for an UNCITRAL Day inaugural series in Africa. In this regard, I'm looking forward to working with institutions and countries in the region and the support of the Secretariat to implement this initiative in 2022. I thank you for your attention. I would like to close the session now. Excellencies, distinguished delegates of member and observer states, as well as other international organizations and accredited NGOs, we are coming to the close of the 54th session of UNCITRAL. I'd like to sincerely thank you for your active engagement and for making this session a success, in spite of the continuing special circumstances induced by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the first time that I chair an annual session of UNCITRAL, and I'm glad that Ghana could contribute in this way to enhance the work of an international body that makes a remarkable contribution to international law. It has been a privilege for me to witness the spirit of cooperation which found solutions and compromises on the texts that have been adopted and on the decisions that have been taken. The adopted texts and decisions will be submitted to silence procedure. Please allow me to express my sincere appreciation to all the delegations that have worked tirelessly on the deliberations and decisions throughout these 3 weeks of session. Thanks to your full engagement and unwavering support, we could complete the tasks of this commission and take decisions that will allow UNCITRAL to continue its meaningful work. It has been an unusual session, again, and I have not been able to see the vast majority of you physically. Nonetheless, I acknowledge that this year, the Commission has gathered over 1,000 participants, speakers, and listeners. I wish I could have met with all of you personally, but it has not been possible. I'd like to thank Professor Maria Chiara Malaguti for chairing the deliberations within the Committee of the Whole under Agenda Item 4, and our Vice Chairs, Mr. Fu and Mr. Hanna, for chairing the Commission's deliberations and under Agenda Item 5, 6, and 7, and for ensuring that many UNCITRAL texts were adopted. I would also like to thank Ambassador Jup and Professor Sikirich for their unwavering support throughout the session. In accordance with the decision of state members of UNCITRAL dated 8 June 2021, entitled Decision on the Procedure for Taking Decisions of UNCITRAL pertaining to its 54th session, as well as the organization and agenda of the 54th session, A/CN.9/1079, Decision 1. The chapters of the report on the 54th session of UNCITRAL that have not yet been adopted will be put to silent procedure of at least 72 hours once they have all been translated into all official languages of the UN. So far, silence procedures have been commenced with respect to the chapters of the report relating to Agenda Item 4, 5, 6, and 7. It is very necessary that we find ways to ensure the effective participation of developing countries, particularly those in Africa, in the work of UNCITRAL, and also to enhance their capacity. This is to ensure that no one is left behind in this international endeavor that is so critical to the development of states and for the attainment of the SDGs. I hope as we proceed in our work, we can find common grounds to work together on this initiative. Finally, I'd like to thank Madam Secretary, the staff at the UNCITRAL Secretariat, UN Conference Management Services, translators and interpreters who have been very professional and have worked tirelessly to support the service this session for a successful conclusion. The session is now closed.